Coming up on today's show, I want to break down one rookie for the Cowboys who isn't really being talked about all that much. We did a similar video last year. You guys seem to like it. Let's do it again this year. Before we dive into that, how would you rate the Dallas Cowboys rookie class, which I think is a lot better than what it was last year? So let me know in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. A reminder of who the Cowboys draft picks were and why we're not including Tyler Booker or Donovan Ezeraku or Savone Revel or Jaydon Blue even as the one no one's about, because we're all talking about them. There are many of us who think Jaydon Blue might lead the Cowboys in yards, whether on the ground or including receiving. I thought about Shamar James for this, but he's been banged up. He's probably going to be a backup. Ajani Cornelius is going to be a backup lineman. I think we kind of are talking about Jay Toia at least a decent amount for a 7th-round rookie. How about one of the other 7th-round picks and the other running back the Dallas Cowboys drafted this year, who we couldn't talk much about during OTAs and minicamp because, well, the pads aren't on. You can't judge a power back without the pads on at that event. I wanted to spend more time today on Phil Mafah. We kind of merged with another pick during our draft coverage anyway with Dami Akambasote, who also fits this, I think, pretty decently, and the potential for the impact season he could have for the Cowboys. I think we're already talking about Jaydon Blue plenty. And I do want to emphasize this. I think we're right to. I think we are right to spend more time on the other backs on this Cowboys roster and to be more excited about Blue because he offers more athletic ability. That is one of the fastest backs in this year's class, even if he didn't put up the 40-yard dash time that maybe he was hoping for. He was explosive. He offers receiving ability. He offers rushing ability. He is a more dynamic piece than Phil Mafah is really ever going to be. And I think he can be more of the explosive back. If you're looking for a thunder and lightning, Jaydon Blue's the lightning. And the lightning's more entertaining and fun than the thunder would ever be. But if Phil Mafah does make this Cowboys roster, which is not guaranteed, by the way, he has the skill set, especially long-term, to pair perfectly with Jaydon Blue. I don't think Jaydon Blue is ever going to be a workhorse back. I don't think he has the frame to withstand it. Phil Mafah does. And if you want that cheap thunder-lightning combination, this could be your thunder. So, before we dive into this in depth, will Phil Mafah make the Cowboys roster? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote at the pinned comment of today's show. This Cowboys running back room at RB1, RB2, RB3, maybe RB4 is wide open. I don't think there are any backfields in the NFL that has more uncertainty about what it's going to look like this year. There's Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaydon Blue, I guess Deuce Vaughn, who I think I'm just going to, I'll give up the pipe dream for our small king, and Phil Mafah. And there is a path in which the Cowboys go, all right, let's go with the young guns. What if Javonte Williams still isn't back to his first-year form? What if he's still a sub-4 yard per carry guy like he was in Denver the past couple of years? That's a concern that I think is valid to have with this backfield. He looked great in his first season. Looked solid before he tore his ACL. But he hasn't been that guy the last 2 seasons. And there's some pass-catching value. There's some pass-blocking value that Javonte Williams brings that I think, at least for one of those elements, Phil Mafah might eventually be able to offer in a similar fashion. But if Williams struggles, okay, well, then where do you turn? Or if he's not the same guy? Well, what if you turn to Miles Sanders? And what if the haters are right and he is washed? What if it is a great call by the haters that Miles Sanders doesn't have the athletic juice anymore? That the guy we saw in Philly just isn't good anymore? What if he was just a product of that elite offensive line and your offensive line isn't ready to be that guy yet? He hasn't been overly productive as a pass catcher. I think there's more ability there, but if Jaydon Blue's a good pass catcher, well, Jaydon Blue's going to fill that role. But then who's the lead back, so to speak? So I think there is the possibility of an early role for Phil Mafah within this Dallas Cowboys organization. That is not a guarantee. We're talking about a guy no one's talking about. There's a reason we're not talking about them very much. Look, Blue might never be a full-time back. there is the possibility he is who he was his final year at Texas, which has value, which would be a great pick in the 5th round. Maybe his ceiling ends up being a Tyrone Tracy type player. That's still plenty valuable. The Giants went out and added Cam Skattebo for reason the draft themselves, right? So year 1 of these 2 rookie backs, I think Jaydon Blue is the right answer. But who do you think has more yards? JB for Jaydon Blue, PM for Phil Mafah. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments of today's show. Let's discuss some of the strengths that Mafa brings to this Cowboys organization. Quality size is one of them. In fact, size that doesn't really exist right now on this Cowboys roster. Phil Mafah, listed size, 6 foot. There's a little bit extra on top of that there. 234 pounds. Big for a back in the modern day NFL. Javonte Williams, 5'10", 220. He's pretty stocky. He's only, you add 7 pounds. It's about, I think, 8 pounds is the normal weight you add for each inch, somewhere in that ballpark. Miles Sanders is a little bit lighter, 5'11", 211. Jaydon Blue's not big. He's 5'9", 196. Deuce Vaughn is much smaller. He's 5'6", 176. So Mafa brings you the size that you don't really have in this backfield. That's not the only thing he brings. I think there is some physical ability and some potential bell cow ability. I don't know if the Cowboys want to have a true 300 carry running back in Derrick Henry. Not that many guys exist, but averaging over 5 yards a carry on a 200 plus carry sample size is impressive. And it was pretty consistent, that volume, that average, regardless of the volume overall. It was about 5.4 to 5.2, whether it was 98 carries, 216 carries. That's who he was at Clemson. Now, the pass catching stuff, we'll get back to that later on. There's some valid concerns on that front. But he has that size and the ability to handle the workload that I don't know if Jaydon Blue physically can hold up. I also think he's not there yet. And it's gotten better in recent years. I've seen better pass protection backs coming out in recent years over the NFL draft. Like Henderson was so good. Quint Allen was such a good third down back too. Phil Mafah's size should make him a positive long-term in pass protection. He can step up, hit the blitzing linebacker, pick up the blitzing nickel. He needs time to grow there, but that could end up being a positive for him in the long run if he can develop it. We'll have more Cowboys training camp coverage for you right here all off-season long, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. The weaknesses, and it's kind of funny that the weaknesses match up very well with Jaydon Blue's strengths. Again, it's the fit. I haven't seen great pass catching out of Phil Mafah. There were some drops, and he was never anything more than a minimally productive out of the backfield check down option. 5 yards per catch, caught about 21 passes a year. This is not Tony Pollard back there. This is not Jaydon Blue back there. This is not, you want to go way back, this is not Lance Dunbar back there, who was only a pass. He was almost a receiver. I think there was the 1 year he had 21 snaps to open the year and none were run plays. They were all pass plays. It was just obvious they're going to throw the ball. That's not who Phil Mafah is. It's fine. Because if you were 6'4", 234, and you could catch passes too, you wouldn't have made it to the 7th round. He's also not a burner. And we don't have the athletic testing, but he's not overly athletic. I never saw that 4.4 speed, let alone the 4.3 speed. He's maybe cracking 4.65. Probably a little bit faster than Cam Skattebo, but nothing that makes you go, yeah, this guy's got just that burner, breakaway Derrick Henry size speed combination. He is also coming off a shoulder injury. Sounds like that's going to be fine. I think that was a factor in, he played through it last year, which, to an extent, this can also be the job interview. Tell me about a weakness of yours, and you spin it into a strength. He played through the shoulder injury, so you know that he's tough, right? So predictions, because maybe it could be a goal line option for you if you don't trust Hunter Lipke there. How many touchdowns, if any, I think 0 is a perfectly valid answer here, will Phil Mafah have this upcoming season for the Cowboys? I think Phil Mafah is going to get a ton of run in the preseason this year for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm curious what we see from Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, Jaydon Blue, Deuce Vaughn, etc. at the same time. It could be more involvement than we would normally see at that spot. But I want to see what he's able to show. what does Phil Mafah do in the preseason? Does he force his way onto the roster? Maybe. Again, I want to make this point clear. When it comes to Phil Mafah and his outlook, he is a 7th-round pick. We should probably assign the proper level of expectations. I think Jaydon Blue is better. Blue was a much higher grade for me because I can find the big power back. I can't find the explosive back as easily. And there's no guarantee that Phil Mafah even makes this Cowboys roster, although I think he's a guaranteed practice squad player if not. But he has some strengths. He has the size and that power running that I think fits well in both gap and zone schemes that you'll see more of with Clayton Adams and Connor Riley in charge of the run game this year. But I did want to make sure that a guy we haven't really given very much love or attention to, who was a draft pick on offense, gets some of that on today's show.